I think that's just clicked onto 11 o'clock, so we should make a start for Little Lunch number 2. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for coming along and joining us again today. We are imagining some other folk are going to be joining during the day, but obviously this is being recorded here and going out as a live YouTube, so some people will be participating that way too, which is cool. We've got a pretty big lineup for everyone today. We're going to try again to stick to the half-hour format, and so we'll see how we go. We fixed up that problem with the chat, so now you guys should be able to click in your windows at the bottom there to open the chat window, and you can see a bit of text. Now we're encouraging everyone who logs on to at some stage say hi through the chat window and say where you're calling in from and whose country that you're on today. And if you've got something, one of the ways that you can ask a question through this is to post that in the chat. And maybe if you want to actually ask it as a video question, then type the word question in capitals and we'll see how that goes. You can also just chuck your hand up if you want to say something and we can jump in and help you with that. So I was going to pass over now to Lyndon and invite him to welcome us and say hi.
Yo way. Thanks, Tom. Wanya ngalam janango, murkuchida, malulaba, Maraden. Karina nami, Jojo mo birono, gayan man murangai jagun gun ganyongo. Kiriana naju barnji jimmy, chakan bara nujono, jundul goji. Yo way. Wanya yen yaran gan. Hello and welcome. My name is Lyndon Davis, descendant of the traditional custodians of the Mooloolaba, Maroochy, Maraden districts of the Sunshine Coast. Very honoured and privileged to say Wanya in the local language of the Sunshine Coast, the Gubbi language, and hail from Maroochydore. Maroochydore refers to the Black Swan. Also connected to Mooloolaba referring to the red-bellied black snake, and Maraden sort of covers the whole area, which talks about many kangaroos, gatherings of kangaroos. And so, yeah, very privileged to be able to use my great-grandmother's language, because she was born in Mooloolaba in 1853. And I'm just very privileged to be, growing up, living in the area in which my ancestors looked after. And now I'm in the next one in line to do the job, to look after the places as they looked after it. They looked after it for us. And, the more we know about this landscape, the better we are off, like things like, the seasonal indicators in this district. They still, you still see them every day. Just recently, we just came out of Bunya season. Bunya goes from December through to March, and it was probably one of the largest land gatherings in this world. Well, especially in Australia, a lot of people would travel from as far as 300 kilometers in every direction, and they would converge into these parts and be here gathering for the bunya, the bunya pine nut, which you can eat raw. You can cook it inside the fire. You can put it in your silver side today and your stews. You know what I mean? But this is bunya country, and that's who I sort of represent and speak on behalf on a daily basis when I'm out there in the community, getting the opportunity to present local knowledge at schools and whatnot. So very, very privileged to be here to share in the language and to welcome all the other people online, because, his fellows, he's living on land there. You got the next custodians of this landscape. And so, the more of us doing that job, the better off the future is for the next generations. So thank you very much, and Wanya.
Hey, thank you so much, Lyndon, and really appreciate that. That's a lovely welcome for everyone to start with today. We're going to move pretty quickly now to Katina, who's going to introduce herself and share a performance. Katina's our featured artist for today, and we'll let her speak. And then we're going to, after Katina presents, we're going to have a bit of a conversation about what some of the coronavirus impacts are for First Nations artists and businesses.
Hey everyone, I'm Katina Olsen, Waka Waka Kumbameri dancer, choreographer. I want to speak in a little bit of language that I've been practicing. This is my great-grandmother's language, so Narangwal. Nadianya Katina Olsen Narangwaru. Balgo Bear Jimbalang, Darambulnu, and Galangalunu. Yeah, so I'm on Darumbal and Gangaloo country, and this is my mum's front yard. So what I wanted to share with everyone was just to, this is a reminder for me and a reminder for everyone else how important it is to get outside. I know with everything that has happened over the last few weeks especially, and a lot of our work going online, I've realized more and more so the importance of getting outside and taking our shoes off. So if you are able to, take your device outside where there might be a patch of grass, or if you can't right now after the meeting, if you have a spare couple of minutes, go outside, take your shoes off and get your feet into the earth. Don't know if you can see my feet there. It works wonders. Yeah, it's amazing. I'll give you a little tour of the garden. It's one of my favorites. Mum's garden and lemongrass, all this medicine, it's so good. But yeah, so I'm going to share a little improvisation. Ooh, a little bit of rain. And this is about connecting to land, connecting to country. And I invite all of you to do this at any point. It doesn't matter about dance experience or anything, but just take your shoes off and move around on the earth. It's amazing. So here we go. Here is my little tripod.
That's it. Well done.
Great. Thanks for watching my first ever online performance.
Oh,
There's
thank you so much, Katina. That was really beautiful, and everyone was. You could just see everyone was really enjoying that performance. That's really, I think, helped us kind of ground ourselves this morning and get a chance to kind of have a good conversation. So Katina now is going to go maybe back inside, maybe connect on her laptop so she can be part of the group as we talk about some of the issues for us that we're dealing with and focusing on this morning. So we'll give her a moment to do that. And I think what would be really great to do now is just spend a few minutes with, I suppose, Katina and Lyndon, obviously. And I'm not sure now at the moment if we have other First Nations artists who are currently in the Zoom call, but and others who might want to make a comment. But I guess there's a chance for us to think about, given our First Peoples First approach for this first week of Little Lunches, what the impacts of the coronavirus and all the social isolation things on First Nations artists and the businesses and how people are thinking about adapting. And also, I suppose, the work that Lyndon did this morning with his welcome, and whether or not there are opportunities for us to continue to interpret the welcome process during this time in other ways using technologies, and how that can still potentially give income to artists and cultural leaders. So if I could maybe invite you to kind of just have a few words, Lyndon, about what the impact of this has been on your business so far.
Yeah, definitely, Norm. Yeah, like as I was touching on there yesterday, we've 60 or so jobs have been cancelled in the last week. So all the events leading up to Reconciliation Week into NAIDOC Week, they're our busiest times. I mean, we're July, June, July, like that's Reconciliation Week and that little bit before. It's they're busiest times in our calendar, and we're always out at the schools getting opportunities to go in there and talk to groups and at particular events that are going on as well. So yeah, it's huge, and we're still sort of reeling. What are we going to do? Are we going to get on the dole, or what are we, there's a little bit of work there but it's not going to last, and who knows how long this sort of virus is sort of going to be going on for and affecting everyone. So yeah, I can imagine everyone else out there, man, same sort of boat as me. And I've been doing this for like 24 years, and this is the first time this sort of thing has sort of hit our streets. And what was it, 1920 was the last big flu epidemic, and 100 years to the day almost. So it's it's definitely huge impact on me and a lot of us, I reckon.
Hey, Lyndon, have you guys had a chance to think about how it might your practice and your business might adapt, and have you got any thoughts at this early stage about what that might look like for your business and your arts practice?
Yeah, I reckon, like as Katina sort of was showing there, that as you're doing now with this Zoom group, like we could, as online is sort of like seems to be the only sort of way to get to keep continuing and putting that message out there, and get an opportunity to present and perform. Yeah, you'd have to. It seems like this online is seems like the way to go.
Katina, what are your thoughts on this at the moment? I mean, that was, everyone's really amazed by your performance, and it was really fantastic, and I think it translated brilliantly to this kind of process. What are your thoughts at the moment on how you might approach your practice over this next bit of time?
I have, I guess a few thoughts at the moment I'll just share. That's all in my head. There's a lot of adjusting to do, and acknowledging that I am one of the lucky ones. I have a phone that has this ability, and I have a laptop. So already I'm ahead of those that, you know, don't have access to these things, that can help put their work online. So just acknowledging that there's going to be a bit of a gap in people that have access and are able to tune in to even these meetings. Yeah, so in saying that and acknowledging that, yeah, just thinking of ways how to include those that will be excluded if this is how we head and where we head, and how we can make space for everyone to be a part of this connected space. And maybe these times make us think even more so. I mean, there already is that, you know, that gap in accessibility for some. So maybe because of what's happening now, that a lot of our work is going online, it makes us think about that more. But yeah, in saying all of that, yeah, it has made me think about how there's a bit of a conflict that I'm having at the moment, is because a lot of my work is going online now. My work is about connecting to land and connecting to country, but then the shift is that I'm needing to stare at a screen more so than ever, and it's not, you know, not something that I'm used to working with. I'm used to working in a studio with people. So for me at the moment, I don't have the answers to that, but it's finding the balance in what that is. And so I guess what I showed this morning is, yeah, continually trying to take my work outside, because a lot of it can be inside, looking for those opportunities, grants, writing them, then sharing things online. So just getting outside as much as we can, and not forgetting about the strength and importance of, yeah, putting our skin on country, putting our feet into the country, and acknowledging the land that we're on. Yeah, they're the thoughts that I have right now, I guess.
Thank you. Hey, I wanted to invite Forrest to just update people on, she's posted in the questions about what some of the Wiradjuri Corporation is doing in Victoria. So Forrest, have you got a moment to share that with people, please?
That's just from an email that we received from them. I've just pasted it there into the chat just to show what some traditional owner groups are doing. So I don't have any more information than what I've just pasted that straight out of their email, just to let people in Naarm know that if they're wanting to still have a welcome, they can still contact the corporation through their website and do that. So it's just an example of what some mob are doing.
Yeah, great, thank you. And has anyone else got similar examples of stuff that's happened in this space so far, where, you know, we've seen First Nations groups trying to apply and use the technology for these purposes? So one of the things we can do as a group is we changed the license on our Zoom stuff so that we can have multiple hosts of different people in different places. So for instance, a group like Linden's could use a license as to put out the same sort of offer that Wiradjuri put out, and say you're available to do welcomes and can book you in the same way, and use these technologies to deliver those welcomes for activities that are happening either in the virtual space or, you know, I suppose it's all going to be in the virtual space at the moment. So that's something we can work on together and kind of see if we can kind of get happening for people. And, you know, from your perspective, Katina, what sort of support do you need as an artist to help? I guess we'll go back to the question about access, because I think that's a really important one, but can you talk how you're thinking about delivering some of your work and promoting it and stuff during this time?
Yeah, I think, I guess I'm still in the phase of working this out at the moment. But things like this especially, and Mugalin put out an EOI for artists to come and share their work I think in the space of about half an hour. So there's a few artists going online there. So things like that are like, yeah, it's quite quick in response to what's happening. Things like that are really great, and an opportunity to keep sharing and exchanging our work and our practices and performance. So right now, the practical things, yeah, I think originally in the last week, although I'm excited about share and exchange, and a lot of classes were going online, and a lot of people were, yeah, sharing their online practices, I had a question around if we give our work over for free, are we essentially like, yeah, we're active in stopping that part of our work being an income for us. So I think that's important to stay practical and make sure, you know, you think twice about how you share your work. Yeah, and make sure that, because if you do that, then the next person will be expected to share their work for free and that kind of thing. So I think, yeah, the really practical things are really good for right now. Yeah, but the rest I'm still working out. It's very new.
So thank you. There's an update from the Little Lunch project about the EOI process for artists to nominate to do what Katina has done this morning and what Lyndon have done is live. So you can click to that and or share that with other people who might be interested in being a featured artist on a Little Lunch, and then obviously being paid for that. And part of that is, you know, obviously getting some support out as much as we can to independent artists who have probably been hit the hardest by this whole thing, but also to try and set a precedent and a way of working that other people in the art sector might see, and they go, okay, yeah, I can still make sure that I properly pay people for their work and time. And Elliot's been working on a little agreement there that's still in draft at this stage, but it's something that could enable. So when we move the hosting of the Little Lunches from us being the host to other people taking that on, then those host organizations might want to contract their own artists in to do that stuff. And there's some agreements there that you can use to say, okay, this is supporting you and you're providing the copyright to use it and all those sorts of things. So we're trying to work through those things. Elliot's also doing some background work with APRA about what the requirements are for folk who might want to share music and sing a song, and the payments and things that are required for that stuff. So we'll keep feeding that information in through the group and sharing it on the site. So, but if other people have got there are heaps of exams in other places, and Dan might be aware of a few of these as well, so she might be able to share those through some of the stuff that's happening through the Facebook group. So I wanted to say thanks to particularly to Lyndon and Katina for that great input this morning. That was really helpful, and I think helped us to sorry, sir. Yeah, sorry, did you want to say something? Sorry, Elliot.
No, not necessarily. I was just agreeing with you on thanking everyone. I mean, I'm happy to have a chat to people about how we arrived at a rate for this project and the kind of stuff we looked at, but I don't want to take up time in this one. Maybe we can put it in one of the other Little Lunches down the track.
Okay, great. So if everyone's okay, I would like to invite Dan to introduce herself and just give us a little bit of background about the amazing work that the group of artists who are administrating the COVID-19 Facebook page, and have a bit of a conversation about how we can, you know, best connect with that great work. So over to you, Dan.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Dan Garonzi. I'm on Wurundjeri country in Naarm. I am an administrator on Australian Arts amidst COVID-19, which was just set up by a Perth woman. I don't know what country that is in Perth, I'm sorry. And she is an artist who started the page maybe 10 days ago, and within 3 days we had 8,000 members from all over the country, and then now we're at 13,000. So it's a real testament to how much there's not really great information elsewhere for the arts community and industry. And so it's been really exciting to have somewhere that people can come, and it's clearly, you know, really needed. So all the administrators are artists or arts workers. So we're all in the same boat as everyone who's posting on the page. We're really trying to keep the page based on resources and information so that it's a useful place for people to come for arts-based information specifically. And so we're trying to keep things that would really be in people's personal feeds in their personal feed and not on the page. There's a massive section. So we've put everything into topics. So the best way to use the page is to go to the right-hand side of your screen when you're on the page and look under the topics. And there's a topic called Taking Art Online, Katina, which may have some information for you or other people who have been thinking about putting their work online. There's quite a few conversation threads in there, and people talking about everything from licensing and the limits to APRA copyright licenses, and also how to. But I want to support what Katina was saying about putting your art online for free, just because I agree, and I think that there is a real push to put it online, but we are fighting that already existing idea that artists should work for free, and I feel like it's a challenge that we're in, and we've always been in, and this just puts it in a totally different place. So I would just encourage people, personally, I would just encourage people to consider how they can continue their business practice and go online. Yeah. Is there any questions? I'm not sure what else to say now.
So is anyone like to ask Dan questions about that? Like, one, I think the really interesting thing, Dan, is how the sector came together so quickly, like incredibly impressive, I think, but also the work you guys have put into creating protocols for doing this stuff, I think is really incredible when you come in and see it. And I think there's probably things that we can learn or adapt or learn from as a group as we're doing stuff here. I think that's really great to highlight the pay issue. I think that's really critical, and copyright. And has anyone else got thoughts or things about how we can best connect through to the Facebook group?
I did just want to say about this might be interesting for people starting to work together and collaboratively online in this process. Like for us, it's fluid and it's still ongoing about what the page needs. And we are really trying to listen to what's getting the most traction on the page to see where our huge arts community is lying. And so, we started as being total open access and posting whatever, and, eventually it became unuseful. And so we kind of keep coming back to that word, is this being useful for our community, and basing our judgments on that. And so we did end up one of the there's like 30 or 40 moderators, and I don't know most of them. So they're from all over the country, and that's been an exciting way to come together with other people anyway. But, someone offered some guidelines, and those guidelines have been updated as we go along and more things emerge. And it is such a fluid environment for us at the time. Even, we didn't really necessarily want to be a Centrelink based site, but at the moment, that's, like Katina mentioned earlier, everyone's in free fall and just really trying to manage with what they need right now. And so this week we put out a poll to see what people need from us. And the biggest thing was conversation around how to get support to then continue what they need to do as an artist. So we'll keep doing things like that and checking in with our members to see what is useful for them. We kind of said, oh, maybe people need to be able to say what can help them as an artist, but actually at the moment what can help them as an artist is working out their financial situation and what kind of subsidies are available to them. So we'll just keep evolving like that, and we are totally open to ideas or offers or conversation from other people. It's an ongoing, organically growing and evolving group.
Yeah, Lyndon speaking here. I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, it's you know, I do a lot of presentations and stuff at schools and stuff, you know, but sometimes I'm out in the bush and I'm doing a bush tucker walk. So, you know, for me to be doing a presentation online, I'd have to, you know, you'd be walking, you're going to get a different sort of experience, you know what I mean? It's not to be as good as being there on the bush tucker site experience and smelling the place, you know what I mean? Taking all that into account. So I don't know, they could get bored listening to me for 10 minutes, everything. And this is boring, this fella. I would rather be out there in the bush than listen to this fella on the screen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's sort of like, but that's the way it's got to be. But I just think that's how, you know, it's going to be a bit tough at the start to work out how you're going to keep those people interested and actually, you know, that you're going to get paid for it as well too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And there might be some ways through technology.
It's a good idea, Norm. Don't get me wrong. You know, like to start, because this is the position we're in, and this is the tools we've got now to do this online sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's all new to us. Well, to me, I don't even know. I don't even know how. My missus hooked this up. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here talking. You know what I mean? So, like Katina said, like some of us don't even have this, you know, access to this type of technology, other than black fellas out there. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a thing, you know, starting and all that sort of thing. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but definitely I can see it working with the online stuff. And, you know, if we all put our heads together, might come up with something, you know what I mean?
I was thinking one of the things is really important is how as a group we get together and start supporting communities that are isolated or don't have technology or don't have access. So we need to be good to start looking at some of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, sorry, I was just trying to work out how to unmute things. Noisy, I'll go. Hey, I'm just thinking with the sharing role with other organisations, does that encourage other like MPAs or funded companies or festivals to also cover the cost of artists while they're hosting?
You would hope so.
Okay, because I think it would be annoying if they were like, oh, great, Ferals, you cover those costs. That would be annoying. And then the second thing I'm just thinking is, Dan, I don't know what you think. I'll just try to scroll back to see your face while I share this idea, see what you think. But I agree about, you know, the sort of critical life things that are going on. And to me, it kind of reminds me of the stuff we learned about creative recovery, that, you know, in that first 14 days, it's, you know, dragging bodies out of rivers or whatever. In this situation, it's like I've been on, like you can't actually even, the phone call won't even pick up to Centrelink today. It's just saying busy. I mean, I've been pressing redial for 2.5 hours. Last night I finally got on and nothing was on there. So, I mean, at the moment, I do think it's like that first 2 weeks is mission critical. That if we know any artists that work in Centrelink or anyone that is at Centrelink who would come online here, or even someone at the Australia Council who can go and have a conversation intergovernmentally with someone at Centrelink. If someone from Centrelink was on this, you'd have 14,000 people on this, you know, it'd shut this whole system down. So that would be the first thing. Hang on, just got to get the pikelets. Homeschooling. But the second thing is that I think that then as time goes on, what it would be interesting to do is document what we know in a national economic health crisis, the same way we've got that data about which artists are useful when and where in the natural disaster or, you know, climate disaster space. Because then I'm thinking then there's the next 3 to 6 months, you know, and that's going to have a different process with different presenters. So again, if there's stuff that comes through, say with Dan, with the big online network, that could be fed through to this group. And suddenly we go, bang, let's get the right speakers. And then we can promote, there's this whole online system that means that Facebook group doesn't have to do this as well as that. And then I feel like in 6 months' time, we'll be having different conversation. You know what I mean? So I feel like it would be good for us to document that as we go. And maybe we use the Facebook group as the sort of consultative data. What's coming through there, we can easily see. We know that's going to shape what artists need in these calls. That's basically my idea.
I totally agree, Lenine. And Lenine actually put together an amazing resource for artists. And so, and that's another thing that the Facebook group is providing to our sector is if you have the time, another artist, Aisha, has put together a document on Centrelink, you know, so artists are coming up with ways that can documents, that files are being uploaded onto the Facebook page, so they're saved in the files that can cover lots of those things. I think, Lenine, like, you know, that could be lists of resources, lists of data, recovery resources, all those kinds of things. I think that's a really good offer. And at the moment, it's artists and who are offering all these things. And I think that's a way that organisations can assist and support us, is by maybe using some of their resources to put things like that together for us, or to document those things for us.
Okay, great. So I'll just check if anyone else has got a burning thing they want to say now. Otherwise, we've got a couple of things to just share, and then we'll probably wrap up this morning's lunch. Any show of hands for other things people want to kind of share right now? There was a dog's tail, I think. Okay. So thank you. I just want to let you know a couple of things. One is we're in conversation with the Australia Council about having someone come online and update everyone about where all that's up to. We plan to do that right at the start of the week because you know, we felt made sense to share that information there, but because stuff's changing so quickly, it's tricky for them, so it probably makes more sense. They were saying maybe late this week, but probably I think more likely early next week. They'll probably want to get those for your funding things out the door and be around then. So, but that's in train. Any kind of suggestions for companies, organisations that you think we should be connecting with and inviting to be speaking and joining the conversation, throw that in the chat. There's the EOI for people who would like to be featured artists. And there's also an EOI about hosting for companies who want to take hosting. So we're working this process out. We're thinking maybe if we get a core group like the mob is on the phone today to help out with in a Google Doc to give maybe the next few weeks a bit of shape as a program, and have a think about what the topics are we might sort of want to address and who might be up for doing what. And then, as Lenine's suggesting, we could scope it out a little bit over that next 3 to 6 months time, realizing it's going to be a pretty fluid space. But we want to try and keep the commitment to being online each day, each working day. So it's Monday to Friday, and just kind of keep that regular thing in space and see how it evolves and stuff. Like from an arts front, a feral arts point of view, we're really having a conversation about the future of arts and culture. And that's happened really quickly for all of us now. And we're kind of scrambling to work out what it means, but we're trying to keep the key principles that have come through the arts front work of first people's first, and the artist is at the center of the future of arts and culture in Australia, and also like a rights-based approach that gives us like an international framing for all the things that we do together as a group. And those things that, you know, each day seem to become more relevant and more important for all of us. So thank you very much. We'll post this up. We'll give it to Dan maybe to post through to the Facebook page, and we'll put it back up on the site. Tomorrow, I think Lyndon's going to get a chance to actually do his dance performance if he's up for that. We'll see how that goes if it's not too wet a day. Marinda Donnelly was going to come on and share with, like, keep the First Nations First conversation going from a black dance point of view. So there'll be a chance to keep doing that work there. And Friday's a bit open at this stage. We haven't quite sorted that yet, but we'll keep you updated through the website. Any comments or suggestions, chuck in the Zoom there. And if does everyone think that Google Doc, you know, within, you know, some of you guys might jump on and help out with that. We'll post a link to that. And if you want to help us, you know, with suggestions and kind of using a calendar thing to give it a bit of a shape over the next few weeks, that'd be really good. And any other resources, there is a little resources area on that page. I'm just going to go screen share very quickly to give you guys a look at, you know, we want to encourage, I suppose, people who can do it to create a profile in the arts front thing, and that'll help us kind of build the communication up as we go. I'm just at the wrong spot there. So this is the main kind of arts front site that people can join and all the rest of it. And what you'll kind of see is the Little Lunch Online is featured up at the top level. So people who come in that way can kind of get access to it. And once you're in that lunch space, you can see there's profiles of the folk who've joined up so far. And that number's growing. We're getting like quite a few coming in this morning as well. So that's really cool. That'll help us kind of build connections. And there's a resources area there if you want to share content. There was a really great roundtable last week that the Australia Council ran that Wesley, Enoch and Lydia Miller ran. And so that's a great resource. It's an hour and a half conversation again on this First Nations space. But thank you all very much again for coming in and joining us for the call this morning. We'll be back on air tomorrow from 11 a.m. Please encourage others to come and join us and help us out.
Go away.
Great show. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Katina.